Welcome everyone to the Club Growth Acceleration Series Season 2, TLI. To our first session that will be run by Nestor Bartolomei. He's our current public relations manager of District 109, the outgoing public relations manager. He is, woohoo, yay! It's been a long journey, definitely a long journey, but I think I've definitely learned a lot from working with Nestor over the past year. In order to receive TLI credit, please, if you're a club officer, let me know in the chat what is your club name, your officer title, and if you're not in District 109, then also which district, so that we can send the um, the credit to the right district. So if you're an officer, please state your position in which club. This will account for 1 hour of club officer training. Next, next thing I'd like to say, Nestor, he will be talking about empowered leadership, elevating club officer skills from club corporate. He's leading the team that is putting on a corporate summit that'll be happening in November in Lausanne. And we are here to learn how to do it, all the things that come from actually leading these skills in the club and in the corporate world, especially for corporate clubs, because we have so many, especially in Switzerland. So without further ado, Nestor, please take it away.
Thank you very much, Lars, for that kind words. And yes, I do enjoy working with you as well. It's been quite a pleasure knowing that you're so far, and sometimes with a phone call, it feels that we are so close. We can talk and relax and at the same time do work, which we can call the cherry on the top. Tonight, as Lars mentioned, we're going to talk about how the club officer role can be extrapolated into a role to create a bigger event who could be called a corporate summit. What is a corporate summit? A corporate summit, it's practically an event where you showcase the skills that Toastmasters teach you, the where you learn, and the roles that you already took, and you move them into a more further and more deeper exposure. So corporate summit, it's a real world exposure of an event. But how this extrapolate or at the same time feeds into the club officers. For all of you who are club officers, who are secretary, sergeant of arms, BPE of educations, BPE of memberships, even the president, sometimes the easier way to understand sometimes is like, oh, corporate summit, yes, they need a leader. Is the president is a leader? But how the other roles play a specific role inside a summit. That's what we're going to talk today. How the roles on the club, you can use them extrapolating all that information, refine it into the corporate lingo, and create one corporate. Given that all of you, if you have already a role, it means you're capable to do a corporate summit. So this is part of the motivation for you to push forward. I'm going to share a slice so you're going to begin to understand a little deeper of who I am and why I'm doing this and why the whole team is doing this. It's so many things here. Okay, present. Mhm. I cannot see you, but I can hear you. So if you can see the screen, please shout out a little bit so I can be
We can
sure.
see it.
Perfect. My name is Nestor, as everybody mentioned. Well, Lars mentioned. I'm the PRN manager for the district. However, that's not the only thing I do. I'm a husband, I'm a brother, I'm a friend. And between all of that things in my life, I have an entrepreneur doing branding, doing interior design. Between all of that, guess what the image is showing? I do Toastmasters. And at some point, I thought that Toastmasters was just a hobby. And that was when I was a little mild in my career regarding Toastmasters. Then I realized that becoming a secretary of a club gave me structure, gives me clarity. And so on, the roles keep going. And then president, BPE, roles keep moving. My point is, doesn't matter how difficult your life is or even complicated in comparison to others, or maybe simplify, every Toastmasters have a similar life. And is that Toastmaster becomes an anchor in some way between activities. This is me. This is the interior designs I do. I do sometimes hiking. I do the sailing. I do the podcast. I do the interior design selection for residential and so on. And I do corporate offices as well. What I mean is sometimes you think Toastmaster is just a hobby to fix your arms, so, or have visibility when you're a little bored. No, you really need to use that to use it as anchor points in your life. Tonight, we're going to see how the workshop is connecting the word of corporate with the club. Today, the focus is to bring out Toastmaster club roles with corporate event leaderships. That's what I said at the beginning. The how you taking a role, it's practically the same thing as taking a role for a corporate event. The big idea, the second point, your office experience direct training for high-level corporate responsibilities. The number third, why it matters. We show how club skills directly prepare for you for the leadership in any major corporate setting, like the corporate that we're going to do in November. The ones that we have a majority of the people in this chat are going to be the Lead with Your Best Summit. Number four, your takeaway. This is simple because it's very similar, if it's not identical, to what happens in each club. We are going to discover how your officer role builds in demand executive skills and boosts your career. In other words, let's begin to the comparison. A corporate summit, it's an event, yes, but it's an event tailored for a specific mindset. These people are looking for fast, added value, and balance when they receive it. They don't want to waste time. Did that extrapolate to the club? Yes. I'm going to stop sharing here because I want to make some questions and want to have some interactions from you regarding this table. But let's browse a little bit between the table. If you are the president, you practically could be the event chair or master of ceremony, so you already have that responsibility. It's oversee the leadership, the strategic direction, the event insights or oversights. If you are the BPE, you can already do the program design, content quality, member development, and skill enhancements because that's practically what the BPE does. In the BPM, you can do the same. It's growth strategies, value proposition. For the PR, which is my favorite and I think is the best role ever, no biases there, is the brand manual, is the brand management, is the Toastmaster communication, and the most important, audience engagement. The secretary. At the beginning, we talk about this, and it's not that small. It's a big responsibility because you keep the records, you communicate the flow within the team, and you adhere it to the standards. So everybody have a clear vision because it's already registered in a paper, like a meter minutes. The treasurer. Oh yes, the most quiet and fierce of all. If you're good with numbers, you will love this. Practically is self-explanatory. It's the financial, the acquisitions, the budget, and oversight what could be spent, how could be spent, and when, depending how you have a budget flexibilities in your club. The Sergeant of Arms, very interesting, and many other clubs oversees this. Many clubs don't roll with this. Many clubs don't have it. In my small opinion, I would say do not do that. If you have a role, double role, the sergeant of arms, it's massive. It's very strong because it's the logistics of organizing, their environment setting, the members' comfort, and the organizational flow, which mean hospitality. Let's go to the questions. I have a very interesting question for you guys. Between the president, let's say, from a corporate club and the sergeant of arms, which one it's obvious to be in a corporate summit? I see Nigel looking down, avoiding the question, so I think you are available, right? It's a president here, and then it's the sergeant of arms there. Which one is the easiest way to say, oh, I think this one should be in a level of a corporate summit?
What level the president should be in a corporate summit?
Yes, it's
I
like, for
suppose,
example,
well, I mean, obviously
the
the
president.
obvious assumption is like a CEO role, right?
Ah, interesting. Very interesting. I
Although
see.
although Toastmasters and corporate worlds are quite different, insofar as the CEO has the ability to hire and fire, and as far as I know, club presidents do not.
Yes, but in that sense, the ability to see each people and what they have to offer is what the president practically do.
Yes.
Squeeze out what everybody have at best and avoid what everybody is not that good, so they push support. So yes, the president is very important, which every corporate summit needs one. Nilda says Sergeant of Arms. What make you think that over the president role, Sergeant of Arms it's first?
Well, because the sergeant at arms is the host, as you said. So without someone who can facilitate the venue, welcoming the guests, you don't really have much of an event.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. What about if I go there and everybody greet me? I say, oh my God, it's amazing. I love it. Give me more. And the president goes in the front and it's very organized, very to the point, and I really like it. But at the end, I didn't understand what the meeting was for. What happens with the BPE? Mario, you've been a BPE?
Hi, Nestor.
Hello, Mario.
So repeat your question. What happens with the VPE? Well, the VPE needs to be engaged in the meeting, obviously. Yes. I mean, I think when a guest comes, everybody has to engage the guest. So especially the VPE and the VP of membership.
Mm-hmm.
And to explain what Toastmasters is, what it's about, what they can learn from Toastmasters. And that's something that we in our club tend to integrate into our introduction for the guests and into our meeting when guests come.
Super. So I guess you're voting that the added value of Toastmaster is the educational, the formation, the structure that brings is what it will keep the members. Leonida says that is the hospitality that will keep the members. And Nigel says the president is needed because that's what he keeps around the whole thing. We all know where I'm going.
Could I add something, Nestor? I think
yes.
One of the things that Toastmasters obviously brings is the notion that it's a safe space where you can have trial and error.
Yes.
And I'm not sure you find that exactly in the corporate world. Like I noticed that all of us here tonight, we would all have experience where we've made mistakes, but we learn by doing. And I'm not sure you can do that in a corporate world.
Yeah, agree. That's a big contrast between a club and a corporate in the sense of corporate club, corporate real world. Katya.
Thank you. No, I don't agree.
Oh.
I don't agree because we have to pass this message also in the company. Because we need to, sorry for my kids, we need to feel safe also at company. Just 1 second.
Mama in action.
In our company, Schaeffer, that is Intralogistics, is an international company. They are doing a training that is called Fundamentals. And the core of this training is related to relationship, but especially we work together, we collaborate together. That's fine doing mistakes. The point is we learn by mistakes and we want to grow. Of course, the intention of the company is to do business, money, and it's okay, because otherwise we don't get salary. So I'm happy that my company does money. But at the same time, what makes the difference with Toastmasters International is that there is no profit, you know. You are here because you are so well motivated that you need to get money. So this is for me the main difference. And I tell you that now some companies are changing the behavior. No? Doing mistakes is okay if it is something that is beneficial to grow faster.
That makes sense. Thank you very much for sharing. So you're saying that even though that the corporate world have a misconception of being and not that friendly, that dynamics should not stay there. We should speak up a little bit as much as we can to move it forward and try to change the dynamics if it's possible. The good thing is that Toastmasters, I'm selling here the club, have that space where you can practice that. One of the things that I want to help you out, guys, to see is, and I mean the people who are going to see the recording, the idea of this cut is so you understand that everything that happens in the club, it's practically a reflection or a mirror to what it will happen in a corporate summit. So a corporate summit, it's practically a big club meeting. But we have a lot of things moving a little more complex. Yes, Nigel.
I think what Katja was really saying, if I understood correctly, is that the corporate world is slowly moving towards Toastmasters in the sense of the idea that you have a safe space to learn. And so your idea of having this event, in fact, could be very, very useful for the corporate world, is in that we can help them to understand that the Toastmasters model is a very good learning model for the corporate world.
Right, this is genial. I mean, this is something that is crucial if we are able to pass the message that the new culture and literature of companies is also doing in this way, because in this way they can grow better and faster. And also in a sustainable way, because now sustainability is so, fashion topic.
True. Sustainability is the ability to really keep doing what you're doing without burning. And when you practice more, it's like an athlete. You get stronger, or at least you manage better. So the burning point is further away and you stretch your distance between it. I really like that. So let's jump for the next exercise. I posted in the chat a link for some questions, and I would love to ask, we'll show you some. We're not going to go with the full thing. That's more for you guys to have it in your private time. However, we're going to deep in a little bit so we see the differences in the questions. Okay. The Toastmasters president set the club main direction, which person in our summit, the hours in November, at the Lead Your Best Summit, does a similar job at leading the whole event. You can open your voice. The vein chair. The vein chair is the person is responsible for the overall plan and so on. My point is, if you keep searching for the other questions, you're going to see how specifically each role in this link that it will be below the video as well in YouTube, you can understand how you becoming a secretary. You don't even have to be a president. Your work is so valuable because it could be extrapolated into something bigger. So don't be afraid to feel that even your role, as little as it could be sometimes, it brings you skills. With that said, let's jump to the people who are here. No, I need to share it again. Where is it? Right now, Nigel mentioned the president. Leonida mentioned hospitality. Mario was quite pushed into the VPE. And we have a couple of other ideas running around. Let's see before we see the graph, because it's very important that we understand that each role have a very strong capacity and contribution. Because it's not only the chair or only the education that it will be the focus of the specific events. As we recognize, if you have a great hospitality at the beginning, and then we have a great added value like the educational part, the membership, people stay. And then if you have a little bit of a good leadership, all of that crumbles together. And it's a beautiful way to showcase one good product. In this case, which role do you personally think would have the most connection or impact to the club, to the corporate event? Jafit, God. Leonida, you mentioned hospitality. Would you say hospitality is in this case?
Yes, sorry. I was doing the quiz.
I'm sorry, I cannot see you, the face of you people. If you're busy, I'm
All
sorry.
right. So what was the question? Could you rephrase?
Do you think that what role do you think is the most connected and make an impact in a summit? You mentioned before hospitality.
Mhm.
Would you think is that one bigger than the other one?
Well, in a corporate summit, in terms of importance, well, everyone is important. There is no small role. But in terms of visibility of the event, I would say sponsorship is important.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe even vital because that is the external facing position
Mm-hmm.
to attract, depending on what the intention of the summit is. But if it is to attract outside people of people who are external to Toastmasters, then the sponsorship would be vital
Mm-hmm.
to the success, which would be the equivalent, I guess, of the VP membership or even the VPPR. Yeah.
Exactly. The
Mhm.
question is not, that's it. You answer it exactly because you are one of the experts who are going to be part of the corporate summit. So I'm quite piggyback on your answer. And yes, thank you, Lenilda. That's exactly one of the elements that I want to bring on is each role is important, but it's important for our vision and perspective from the club perspective. And sadly to mention, no, for corporate summits, hospitality is important, but it doesn't go over the sponsorship, sadly, according to the graphs. I mean, look at that surprise. I was surprised as well. And let's do the other one. In what way do you believe the club officer role and responsibilities? I need my eyeglasses. In what way do you believe a club officer role serve as a training ground for handling responsibilities in a corporate event? In this one, I'm going to move forward. I think you mentioned it once, Lowers. In one meeting that we were in a district, you mentioned that even though the head of the team have the same level of importance that the people who are below taking notes, it's very, very interesting because that I remember that. And it was a very empathy answer. And at the same time, it was true. And if we extrapolate that mentality of what the club, how the club impacts regular people versus how a corporate summit impacts corporate people, apparently they're looking for education and structure. That's the highest level they're looking for. So education for this type of level-headed people is education. Do I get what I'm looking for? It is well structured. Apparently, that goes over if the leadership is good or not. That go overs even the relationship in public relationships. Goes over the internal secretary style or even the budgeting when you mention for the sponsorship. The second one is membership, which is the one-on-one and how do you structure the system is the mentor and coaching. So managing skills, personalized service. That's the second one that a lot of the corporate individuals are looking for. So at this point, it's very similar to what we have in a club, surprisingly, because I thought, like Leonida mentioned, that sponsorship have to be a big thing. It's corporate, it's money, it's progress. No, we're not pitching to the companies. We're pitching to the people who work in the companies. At this point, when we show them the added value of the practically the VPE, we're showing that this system of education have a structure of mentoring and coaching. And for this reason, I want to mention for the corporate summit in November, we have 4 allocated individuals focusing in education and structure. That important it is when you do a corporate summit and you address that, because if they want it, they need it, we want it, we offer it. For the mentoring and coaching, we have 2 people allocated for that. And surprisingly, like many of you have been mentioning, it's not the least, but it's very important. It's the hospitality element. And it's surprising because they're not looking to feel good. They are looking for what is the first impression which leads their concept of what we're offering. So at this point, this is practically what happens in a club extrapolated to the corporate world. For that specific hospitality, we have 2 people managing that specific range. I see a hand raised up. Katia, you have a question?
Yeah, I was reflecting on your slides, and something that I think is also important to give the opportunity during the corporate summit is a roundtable or sort of discussion at the end of the meeting through managers that have the power to take decision and pay, so real sponsors, to discuss around a table. Maybe also a chair or a president can lead this session and making question in order to see which key points were so important and added value to their experience. At the same time, my opinion, it should be important to keep in this table also some manager or class that are already corporate. So some manager that can share the experience in terms of Toastmasters and which kind of benefits they can receive. So first of all, meeting, maybe we can also give the opportunity to some manager to do the table topic, because if we are able to reach out them from emotional point of view, the alpha job is done. And then at the end, if we have a round robin table, you know, panel discussion. It's very similar to a panel discussion, not so long, maybe 20 minutes, but just allow them to make questions and also receive some experience from managers that they can respect just because they feel like them, you know, they feel like me, the links, okay? You are a manager like me, and you had this experience. So I think that this is a great idea, but I'm not really sure. So if you say that this is okay and you got some results, maybe I can try.
Yes, I see your point. Regarding that point specific, it may be convoluted for those who are watching online in YouTube. And I apologize for that. Maybe it could be a little complex. The people who are here presential, they already know what the project is about. They already have a role in this project. And I would like to present it to you guys. So publicly, let me begin regarding the topic that Katia mentioned. If we are going to do to corporate and we are going to address them in a catchy, inclusive way, we decided to do a panel. And that panel will be running by Nilda. Nilda will have a personal branding and HR and some other elements running with the panelist, which will be practically replicating a table topics, but for corporate. So Nilda, you have experience doing panels. Can you briefly tell us what is the reception of people when they are in panels? How they feel when they're in a panel?
When the panelists are speaking, they feel, I would say they feel good because now they have a stage where they can voice a burning, answer a burning question. And that's usually, I would say it's a hot conversation because it's something that everyone has been thinking about, but no one dares to say out loud. And so here we are in a gathering of individuals with experience and who want to share. So they come from a space of generosity. Look, I want to share. This is a burning question. I've come across this situation. I really want people to understand this, not only understand it, but lead their lives differently. So I believe it's a great opportunity to give leaders the space to share and somehow without being pretentious or teaching, but more sharing. So it's from a sharing point of view. Yeah, that's what I would
Super.
say.
So thank you very much, Leonilda. So in that sense, you will be leading the hosting part for the panel that will be part of the corporate summit. It's practically a table topics with a specific experts in the Q&A style. But when that happens, we need time restrictions. We need things to be precise. And you know, Harshita, I'm going for you. And you have things to organize this in the way that runs in a smooth way. Harshita, you have been organizing many elements of many events. And one of the things that you strive is organizing in timing and letting people know how much you have, how less you have. You only have 30 minutes. And how you work with this, how do you think is an added value for you?
Well, as we all know, time is very important for everybody. And when we invest time in a certain event, we want to get something from it. And everybody voices count. So we need to give equal opportunities for everybody to say something within a specific time. So when I organize events, I try and add a few more minutes extra for each person so that even if they're speaking more, they still have time to say what they want to say. But of course, you communicate all this so people know exactly upfront they have 2 minutes to speak or they have 3 minutes to speak. So time is very important, especially when we have an agenda and we have a lot of things to cover.
Mm-hmm. Great. Exactly. So you're gonna be dealing with us. You have a specific role, like Nilda have. She's gonna be the host of the panel. It's gonna be a specific time. We are gonna push the agenda later, and you're gonna be part of that person, Harshita, in charge of the smoothness and the timing for the whole event. It's very important. So you have a secretary role, if you're gonna say it that way. And Nilda, you are doing table topics. So that's a very similar to a club role. But at some point, I think we need a little bit more of pizzazz because not all table topics are the same. Sometimes we do debates, sometimes we do competitions, sometimes you do your opinion, I do and we vote it. Nigel, you've been organizing contests, you've been organizing elements of division, an area where you can showcase the quality and the level of commitment that you need to become better. In the contest, what is the added value for those who participate?
I think it's fairly clear that for those who take the plunge and step forwards onto the stage and test themselves in that sort of situation, you are obliged in a way to focus your energy and your powers of concentration on your erudition for that moment. So the people who challenge themselves by taking part in a contest, invariably there's this feeling of growth and overcoming and learning. So anybody who takes part in a contest, they always come out feeling stronger in some way, and you're testing yourself. So I think it's the idea of testing yourself to learn and to grow.
Super. Growth, overcoming, and learning. But the thing is, not everybody who is in the contest have a mentor. Not everybody have a coach. Not everybody have a person who can help them structure to get to a level of contest or even to the level of being a panelist. However, in the corporate summit and how it happens in clubs as well, we assign mentors and coaches. For this event that we're going to push, we have our own manager for mentors, Mario. When we move to the more higher level of doing speeches, how important is to have mentor and coaches? Because if we have it in a club, how much important it is to have it in a corporate event. What do you have in mind?
Well, I think you'd be surprised how unstructured a high-level corporate executive can be in a speech. It's shocking, actually. I had the pleasure of not actively coaching, but my partner Helen was coaching a TEDx in a local TEDx event, and people who were college professors, who were business executives, were allowed the opportunity to be coached for their speeches. And it was an interesting learning experience because the people who you would think were very capable were not at all capable of delivering their speech. They made a lot of errors. They weren't able to face the audience. They weren't able to communicate clearly. If they had PowerPoint presentations, there was a lot of text. They were looking at the screen, not at the audience. So there's a lot of benefit to coaching these people to make sure that they can deliver their message in a way that's effective and that the audience will understand, and perhaps even in a structure that is more storytelling that'll connect with the audience. So I think there's a lot that probably can be done. I haven't met them yet, the speakers, but we'll find out.
Yes. Thank you, Mario. We could talk a little bit of hospitality. However, the two people in charge of the venue and the hospitality, they're not here. However, if you imagine what the Sergeant of Arms do, which is organizing the meeting, making sure everybody have a pen, and so on, and greeting the people in the door, that's what it's going to be at the corporate summit. Batches, attendance, who are you? Did you need water? Where are you from? Are you okay? You want to sit by the window, on the hallway, and so on. That's exactly what we do in a club. But when we have it to do it in a corporate level, we're going to have two people who are going to be in charge of a specific team. Because as we saw in the graphic, education is very strong. What we offer as a structure is very strong, and hospitality as well. The other elements are just part of the glue, which is extremely good for the internal team. I don't want to take longer because it's been more like a monologue in this case, in my case. But I encourage you, all of you in every division, doing a corporate summit is complex. However, if you manage a club meeting, you extrapolate what is there, and you can do a table topics and make it a panel like Neil is going to do. You can make a competition inside the club in table topics and make a contest like Nigel is going to organize. Then, if you see that you're lacking structure and you need somebody who can help you out, get a Harshita. Get a person who's good with the timings and help you out move forward. However, not even there, you need structure from the inside and the beginning. allocate mentors, allocate coaches, like Mario is in charge of our corporate summit. So at some point, hopefully, you're seeing the corporate summit is not very far from reality for you. It's a thing that is just extrapolating club to a little more complex. But if you do club, you can do summit. Nigel.
And if I understood correctly, your fundamental principle is the idea of learning by doing. And we are
Yes.
taking the skills that we have, the knowledge, the structure we have in Toastmasters into a corporate event to help them to learn things by doing. Is that right?
Yes. The corporate summit for us is we're going to take it. Oh, yes. Let me explain who's our target audience. Our target audience is a bunch of corporate people who likes to talk or would like to talk, but they need a mentor, they need training, they need timings, they're going to have hospitality behind them, and they're going to have exposure. These corporate people are going to experience a real life experience with a full battery of what it's been in a big event. Why we're doing this as a district? Because it showcases that Toastmasters goes beyond the club doors. While we're doing this, just in a corporate side, in a very restricted membership, because our venue is quite restricted, because we want to showcase that each of us have a mastery on that. And at that point, will give us visibility in the real world. When people get to see, I was in a panel where this lady, Leonilda, showcased this, that's visibility. People will know that, oh, that contest was so clean, so organized. And that gentleman in the front, the British one, organized it. Nigel get visibility as an organizer, and so on. We're all friends, so I can stretch a little bit. My point is to all of those who are seeing it for YouTube, and Joey, thank you for putting camera. I see you there. Is that our corporate summit in November? It's about to be launched. And this is one of the first for our area, which is going to be compiling a big club meeting, offering for executive level. We encourage you to do it, and why not? Maybe you do it better than us. Maybe we learn something from you. But if you're interested, we're going to broadcast it live. No, not live, record it. I think, Katya, are we going to broadcast it live or record it? Because we're still thinking about it, right?
What do you mean?
We were going to broadcast it live, or it was going to be
you mean streaming
yeah,
or recording?
streaming.
Okay.
Yes, streaming.
I think that we can streaming if you want.
Yeah.
We should receive the signature on maybe in a paper about everything that is for picture, video, and so on. But if we got that from people that are attending in person, that's fine. I think that is also useful for them. It's something that you should manage in advance with HR and understand which is the scope, because just in case if it is only for us, they need to be aware. Otherwise, they can use also for training or to post on LinkedIn and make more promotion. So this should be also another hook that you can use because you are so good in marketing. So you can also propose a package from promotion point of view. You can also, be recognized for your skills about that. So maybe it is another hook. And you can also say that in Toastmasters, we do practice.
Very interesting that you mentioned, because sometimes in the clubs at the end, we have Coca-Cola, or sorry for the black plum, we have a soda, and we have sparkling water and so on. But sometimes the club cannot afford it. So we need to bring sponsors. We need to ask other people about, can you donate it? Kind of 4 croissants, 4 dozen croissants. Can you donate this? So the corporate summit as well, we will have a sponsorship team. It's going to be led by Katya. We will have sponsorships who are going to bring us different levels, from products to food. That's something that you as well already practicing in your clubs. Katia, how is your experience of how the corporates welcome when you ask them, can you help us? You as the corporate sponsorship for this event as well.
Right. Actually, I'm a purchasing manager. So for me, it's so easy to ask something because they are giving something also maybe because they want to be, show that they want to collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for, it's not a sort of receiving presents. No, it's more about collaboration. They are so proud to collaborate. For example, of course, I will ask to suppliers where I'm able to give more, also in terms of promotion and sponsorship. So, for example, there is Selmat, is a company that the scope is to become bigger and bigger from selling machine with coffee machine or snacks and so on.
Mm-hmm.
The automatic machine that you can have at your company. And the brand is coming to be international. That's the reason why they are so interested to give something and to have the logo there.
Super.
But of course, if you are a purchasing manager, is easier because you are always looking for new suppliers, doing scouting, or maybe visit no, Fiera, no, it's say in English.
Fiera.
Where we have events, big events. For example,
fairs.
Ipakima. Yeah, exactly.
Fairs,
Ipakima,
yeah.
this is a big event where all companies are presenting their products in terms of packaging because I'm working in intralogistic. So for me, it's also easier because the scope of my company is very close to something that we can bring because we are doing handling material. So I know suppliers that are doing packaging or products that are very useful for us.
Super. Thank you
So
very much.
two things are working well from sponsorship point of view. One is your name and credibility, also in terms of collaboration. And the other part is which is the scope of the company. If the scope is to be more known or more recognized, it works very well.
Super. So I would love to wrap up with that thought, mentioning that I'm pretty sure that each of you in your clubs have a Katia, have that person who have a great mind to talk, ask, get the resources for your club. So you already have a sponsorship manager in your club. At some point, you have always that person who's so interested in taking knowledge from the others, asking questions, and preparing a team. So you have an Hilda. Well, yes, you have an Hilda in your club. You always have this person who have a little bit of knowledge and he want to share it because he's a sharer. So you have this person who can be like Mario, who's going to be organizing the mentorship and so on. Let's mention, and you have these competitive people who's been jumping around in different contests. So you have people who have the knowledge to create contests like Nigel will help us with the competition. Hold on, let me correct it. Competition to be brand compliance. And then many others, and we all need time and organization. We all have that. We need a person who can give you the structure and the timing and refine all of this energy into a good flow. So you all have for sure a Harshita in your club. So at this point, do not hesitate to bring this video and extrapolate it into your club because it could happen. If you have doubts, ask the core team. The district will be super happy to help you out building up something like this in your region. And if you are interested to see how this ends up in November, in Vevey, in nearby Lausanne, let's say, in Switzerland, you're more than welcome. Seats are limited. However, it's by invitation. I'm sorry. However, that's why we're streaming, so everybody can join us. The thing is, we are so developing this that our venue is still in process to get the date confirmed. So far, we're going to be in Nestlé, the corporate club Nest speakers. They're going to host us as the hostess club. So thank you very much, all of you. Thank you, Lars, for the opportunity to bring what happens in the club could becomes a big event as well in the corporate world. And I appreciate Joey, our friend from Dubai, and so much to each of you. Thank you very much, Lars.
Thank you so much to you, Nestor, and actually to this whole team that is putting on the corporate summit. As I've mentioned, if you are an incoming club officer in one of the clubs, please let me know which club and what is your officer position. I sent some of you messages. I didn't receive an answer though. Nonetheless, it's not too late. Please send me which club if you are an incoming club officer. We do have a couple last minutes, so hey, it's always good to have a couple extra minutes for question and answer or Q&As or brainstorming and so on and so forth. So it's not like you ran way under time, you know. So if we do have any questions, now is the time. Any thoughts as well? It's very quiet. I think everyone is just way too involved in the actual corporate summit, so they already know what's happening.
I make them talk with my shotgun on hand, so everybody's kind of in shock. My apologies. I told you that you knew already what was the questioning about. So for the recording, for the record, they didn't know specifically what I was going to ask. They know what is their role. So practically, it was an improv. They're masters on this. That's why they're part of the club. That's part of the team. Thank you very much, all. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no worries. Actually, if we do have a couple last minutes, do you have the answers to the quiz in case people? Okay, I was going to say, you know, we could go over the quiz and you know address it one by one, but I suppose you don't. I saw Mario. You raised your hand.
I did. I just wanted to pass on a quick story to all of you that relates to the corporate environment. And Leonilda, I'm not sure if you were there for the first meeting at Procter & Gamble in Geneva.
Yes, I was.
Yeah. It was pretty interesting, and Nigel, this relates to the table topics for the corporate summit. I remember after the meeting, the Toastmasters Club was driven by a very high-level executive, VP level, who was a Toastmaster. He's no longer with us now, but he got the club on its feet and he got it started. We held this meeting and we had table topics, and we encouraged people to come forward. And at the end of the meeting, he had a group of young people that were in his department standing around. There must have been 8 of them. And I'll never forget this lesson, this question. He said, those of you that didn't raise your hand for table topics, I know you were nervous. I know that you were afraid to stand up in front of this group. He says, how many of you want to be a vice president of this company? And they all raised their hand. He says, are you ready to present to the board today? And they all had to shake their heads, no, because they were afraid to stand up. So it was a lesson in you need to learn to stand up and present yourself to a group that gives you a stressful environment. And so the lesson was participate, learn to speak, put yourself out there in Toastmasters. It was an interesting lesson.
Yes, indeed.
Maybe this should be a sort of preparation to manager that already are believing in the project.
Right.
So this kind of mentorship, Mario, is really needed to them.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So we are actually now at the top of the hour. And so I want to say thank you again to all of you, especially to Nestor for presenting this TLI session on building a successful corporate summit, going over the roles needed, of course, how it is useful for any regular club officer from club to corporate, and I think this was a very valuable session. With that, I would like to close the session. So thank you and have a good night.